Like most entrepreneurs know, it's not easy to transition from a 9-to-5 to being self-employed. Today's guest threw caution into the wind to follow her passion, and she never looked back.
My name is Suzanne Sandel, and I am the exclusive distributor of Renit First, the only hand-painted eyewear in the world. My passion is, by far, chocolate.
Hi, Suzanne.
Hello.
I want to say Susie. I feel like I've known you long enough to say Susie.
Please do. I'm known for Susie.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
So I remember when I met you, it was for a photo shoot. I think Cheryl was the one, Cheryl Besner, had put us in touch. She said, I know this wonderful lady. She has this great product, these beautiful frames. She, wants people for this photo shoot. Can you come? And she told me the glasses were amazing, and even that didn't do it justice. They are beautiful.
Thank you so much. That was a wonderful opportunity for us, and thank you so much for being there.
Oh, my pleasure. It was a lot of fun. And it was a nice group of women as well, so it was great making those new connections, right?
It was indeed. We still stay in contact with many of them, and I'm very grateful to Cheryl.
Exactly. And here we are today on the couch.
We are. Thank you for having me. It's beautiful here, and I admire what you've done on behalf of professional women.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Well, one of the things that marked me with you is your story as to how you got into distributing these frames in Montreal, or in Canada, I should say. And it seems like it happened really quickly, this transition. So can you tell me a little bit about it?
Certainly. 3.5 years ago, I was traveling, and I found a little dispensary for eyewear in Israel. Mm-hmm. My frames, my sunglasses had broken, and I needed them to be replaced or repaired.
You were on vacation there?
I was.
Okay.
I was for the first time to Israel.
Wow.
And you need sunglasses in Israel, and without them it wasn't easy. So I walked into this little shop, and I saw the most magnificent display of these hand-painted frames. And I started to try them on, and I inquired at their cost, and I was pleasantly surprised. So I left Israel with a pair of their hand-painted frames, which is what makes them very, very special.
Right.
I brought them home, and I wore them to work, and I wore them out, and people would stop me wherever I'd go.
That's always a good sign.
It is. It was great fun, and I just felt that they made me happy. Putting on these frames just made me feel joy. Mm-hmm. They were bright in color, vibrant, and just so light to wear. I contacted the company, and within a few hours, they responded. We Skyped.
Okay.
And during the conversation, I suggested I fly out to Israel, that I'd pay for the ticket if they'd cover my expense while I was there.
Wow.
And if we'd spend 4 or 5 days together, and we felt that they felt, and I felt that the product was strong enough and well made, and I liked the company and their ethic and their production, that perhaps I could be their exclusive distributor for Canada.
Wow.
To which they responded, when can you be here? So I got off that phone call, and it was like, oh my gosh, what have I done? I had a full-time job.
Did you contact them with the intention of making a business out of it?
Yes, but unknowingly. I mean, I just thought I would take a chance, and that's what this whole journey has been about. I had a full-time position as an architectural lighting sales manager for a Montreal-based company. So I was traveling throughout the States and Canada, and it was a very animated, fun position. But when this opportunity came to mind, it was very spontaneous.
It sounds spontaneous, yes.
and a natural following for me, because I've always been interested in design and fashion and color. Okay. So 2 weeks after that, I was on a plane to Israel, not knowing who I was meeting, where I was going, or who these people were.
Oh my goodness.
And my breath was taken away. I just swept away into the beauty of the country, the factory, the family that run this business.
Right.
Renit First herself, her history.
It's a family business?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Nice.
It's been in business 15 years. And she also came by this business very spontaneously in terms of Her first passion was ceramics. She studied to be a ceramicist all over Europe.
Okay.
And she opened up a factory in the 80s. She was manufacturing very high-end dinnerware for five-star hotels, all hand-painted. And at one point in the mid-'80s, she had over 80 employees, artists and workers that helped her create this magnificent line. Very, very...
This is before the frames.
Yes, yes. China came in with free trade, loved the frame collection so much, they reproduced it.
Okay.
I don't like to use the word knocked off, but that's in fact what they did. And within a few months, she had to close her factory because she could no longer compete in an open market. Fast forward a few years and getting over a very difficult time for her because she was so passionate about what she was doing that she was sitting at her kitchen table one Saturday morning and she pulled out her very plain, clear acetate frames and opened her paint box and started to design these frames. That evening she wore them out and
the rest is history.
The rest is history. Everybody loved the frames.
So since the moment that you discovered this in Israel and the moment that you signed the papers with the company saying, I will be the exclusive distributor, what time frame are we looking at?
4 months.
Wow.
4 months. In fact, it was very interesting because when I decided that I would reach out to this company, it was on a flight home from a trade show in New York at the Javits Center from my previous industry, which was interior design and architecture. And it was at the Javits Center. 5 months later, I was back in the same center, the same aisle, 2 booths removed from where I was just a few months ago in a completely different industry, the eyewear industry. And I have never seen anything quite like that in my life. The variety, the selection, the colors.
Right.
But nobody in the world does hand-painted frames, so that set us aside from the rest.
Is this the only line like this?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Okay. And our tagline is when art meets the eye. So it
beautiful.
Really resonates to people who appreciate, thank you, art.
And I mean, that's really beautiful. And the fact that it's so unique and each frame is very unique because it's hand painted.
Yes, we have over 4,000 variations and we're constantly growing our design brand by adding new collections. Our latest is precious metals. So we're using gold, rose gold and pure silver to do the leafing on the frames, such as the frames I'm wearing now.
Okay.
So they're embellishing. Thank you. They're very easy to wear. And
how did your family handle this news when you told them, you know what, I'm quitting my job, I'm starting something brand new, it's the only one in Montreal, only one in Canada, this product. I mean, your husband, your kids, were they on board or how did that go?
They were in awe. They figured if anybody could pull this off, it's me because they believed in me and I believed in the brand. And I always believed that if you're passionate about something and you give it your all, you have a tremendous opportunity ahead of you and a journey.
Right.
You know, there's bumps along the way. And
definitely.
And building a brand takes time, as you well know.
Right.
So it's been exciting.
Well, in terms of those bumps, what would you say was the biggest one to get over?
7-hour time difference with Israel.
Okay.
That's definitely an issue. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and start my communications.
Okay.
And not being close enough to be able to travel and visit the factory and let the staff and artisans know how much we appreciate them here in Canada. But generally there hasn't been too many bumps. There have been... What I found was when I first started with the brand, there were a lot of major players in the retail optical industry that signed up with us immediately.
Okay.
And it was wonderful. We were selling frames at a very fast pace. Okay. Unfortunately, we didn't have a market share. We didn't have market recognition. So the retailers would walk into a store and look at our brand and say, wow, that's beautiful. But, you know, I'm here to look for a name brand. It's a very brand-oriented industry. So what I realized was I had to bump it up and get very involved in advertising, marketing, and raising that level of awareness to meet the sales, to help support our stores. So that's been a bit of a challenge, but...
Brand development.
That's exactly right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the difficult part for, I think, a lot of entrepreneurs, right? Because when you're new, everyone thinks, who are you?
Right.
Who are you? What is your product? So to build that brand recognition definitely does take time. But you're well on your way, and it hasn't been that long.
Thank you. It's been 2.5 years, and you know, the Beatles song, I get by with a little help from my friends. Thank you, friends.
Yes.
I met Cindy at a friend's who offered to put together this wonderful cast of celebrities to help us, you know, make things happen. And that was my first photo shoot with this
really?
brand.
Was that the first one?
It was.
Oh, okay, nice.
And from that, you know, I contacted the media and newspapers and magazines, and it just started to evolve.
Right.
We've been featured in some really great publications. We've made some amazing friends along the way. And we've just hired one of Canada's top publicists in the fashion industry, which will really help us gauge our growth, which is very important to me, because there's only so much you could really do on your own.
Definitely. It's all about networking, right?
Yeah.
How key would you say networking has been for the past 2 years for you?
Major. Absolutely major. There's no way I could have done this on my own. It was a big risk, you know, investing the monies to buy my first shipment of stock. But I really haven't looked back, because the people that I've met and connected with in this industry have been very welcoming and supportive. And then the friends that I've made in this industry have been remarkable as well. And I'm just very grateful. Every day I get up and I smile, because I love what I'm doing, and being passionate about your work is a major key to, I think, your personal success, as well to hopefully your professional. And
was the saying, if you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life, or something like that?
That is amazing. I love that expression. It's so true.
Right.
It's so true.
And I think it's what resonates with me as well in this is not only the risk-taking aspect, but the fact that nowadays as women, we can just keep reinventing ourselves, right? We can decide tomorrow to go from one industry or one career to a complete other career. And I love the trend now that more and more women are becoming entrepreneurs. Even if they have a 9 to 5, I find that more and more women are very diverse in their skills, and they actually apply it, you know, on the weekends and after work or full time. They take these huge risks, and that's definitely something that I see a lot on this couch.
Isn't that wonderful? It really is great. And we're raising our daughters to have that same tenacity and bravery and self-confidence. And it's all about believing in yourself first.
Right.
And I think that, you know, it takes time and maturity to find your craft and calling. But what I tell anybody and everybody who would want to hear this is that when you come to a crossroads in your life and you have an opportunity, don't think too long, because it could pass you by.
Right.
It's very important to take chances in life. And that's what this has been about.
Right. And you definitely didn't wait too long for it.
No, I'm very pleased that I had the opportunity, and I'm very grateful for all the eminent success I've had personally. I love what I do, and I've worked for a lot of people in my past.
Okay.
And I've worn different hats and carried different responsibilities, but I think I've finally nailed it on the head. I found my calling, and I'm very passionate about what I'm doing.
And it shows. It definitely shows.
Thank you so much.
So what advice would you give to someone who, you know, not just would like to start a business, but to be more specific, like what you're doing, someone who wanted to get into importation? What kind of advice would you give?
Have a good lawyer. That's the best investment
Really?
you could make.
Okay.
Because what you don't find in between the lines of fine print, they will.
Okay.
That's highly significant. Trust your gut. Always trust your gut, because your gut will not serve you wrong. You know, you ask 10 people for advice, you'll get 10 different opinions. Everyone has an opinion. It's like a heartbeat.
Right.
You know, I just really believe that follow your dream, follow your path, and everything in life is for a reason, even the hits, you know, because that's how we grow. Right. And women by nature have grown tremendously over the decades, and thank you for helping us out along the way, because it's shows like this that really gain us the recognition that we're also working so hard for.
Right. Yes, and it's not always easy getting that recognition.
It's For sure.
Definitely. And I mean, I struggle with that as well. So that's why I wanted to create a platform where I can learn about these women as well and learn from their stories, but also to help them promote themselves as, because nowadays it's all about personal brands as well.
Yes.
And, you know, getting the word out there. And the fact that there are so many amazing women in Montreal doing great things.
Montreal is the harbor for wonderful women. You know,
Yes.
we have such successful, bright and bold women here, and yet so many of them, you know, are humble. And I believe that that's one of the major fibers to any success is not being too loud, knowing your voice, using it when necessary, and also exercising your opportunities by taking chances.
Right.
And always being true to your authentic self. And, you know, that's very important. And your guests, you know, I took a look at your guests and I was very impressed. You featured some magnificent, brilliant women here. And
I try.
and I appreciate, I'm very humbled to be here. So thank you
Oh, my
for
pleasure.
the opportunity.
So what's next? What's next for
Well,
Ronit?
we're doing a lot of fashion shows and we're doing a lot of product placement in terms of costume designers, film.
Okay.
I'm working with a very famous costume designer in Montreal who does a lot of HBO series. So she's using
wow.
our frames in various shows.
Okay.
Because we have 4,000 variations, it's very easy to use different frames.
Right.
And just getting the brand out there and building our base of retailers and gaining their support with what we've done in 2.5 years. Typically, from what I understand in startup companies, it could take anywhere between 3 and 5 years to see a return on your investment. So be patient. No, I would tell anybody who's looking for a quick fix, you know, it doesn't work that way.
No, this is not it.
This is not it. You have to really work hard and develop good connections and friendships and network. And I also believe that it takes many years to build up a reputation for yourself.
Yes.
And you could lose that overnight by making a faulty error. So always think things through and be true to who you are.
Right. Oh, well, thank you. Well, on that note, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. And I find that your frames are just as unique and happy as you are.
Oh, my.
So it really works. I think it's a perfect fit. Like you said, you nailed it.
Thank you so much, Cindy.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
And thank you to you guys for joining us on another episode of Couch Talk. See you next time.
Wish to see, wish to see many other colors. Wish to see, wish to see many other colors.